Hi chat. What are you looking at, camera? How we doing tonight? Welcome in, everyone. Let's turn this one on too. Happy Sunday to you. What's new? What's happening? What's different? How you been? Hello, Cosmic. Welcome, Will Poker. Hello, M. Saucy. We be doing chicken tonight. The AI and the name stuff must be getting better these days. I wholly expected Twitch to flag today's title and say that this is inappropriate. You shouldn't name your title this. But they didn't. We'll see if it flags the dinner command whenever that plays. But we're doing a braised chicken dish tonight. Introducing a kitten to what? Okay. I guess that's where it was. And you're all knocked out of place. That's a little closer. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. I may be allergic to cats and not have cats now, but I did have cats growing up, and mother and daughter in the house, and even them got into every once in a blue moon, every couple of years, they would not like each other very much. Hi, JK. Hi, Moz. Thank you for that resub. Greatly appreciate you hanging out. Not too far off there. Well, I keep using the same one. This has been the same one that I've basically used for all of my streams at this point. But I've got 4 others that are a mismatched set from the same makers. One of them's also up here. I still can't get down there. One of them's right here too. It's red. But they were all made by a couple that worked at the local Sonoma County farmers markets. They had all sorts of beautiful, vibrant pottery, some amazing glazes. Unfortunately, they have both passed away from cancer several years ago now. Yeah, I didn't particularly know them all that closely or well, but yeah, they had some nice pottery, and I like the mugs I got from them. And thank you for liking them as well, and thank you for joining me. Cheers. They had a bunch of other weird stuff that I was like, I don't know if I would ever use that. They had a bunch of culinary things that were like they had like a garlic grater plate. It looked like, you know, those typical like oval baking pans that you can see in like really old restaurants, sort of a thing. They did that, but they had like this weird spike in the center of it so you could grate garlic against it. And there was a couple of other things like that, you know, they didn't look like they were unsafe or no, it's not like, it was like, it wasn't like the fine grate that you would have for a wasabi grater. It was like gears of a gear, the tines of a gear. They were ridiculously spiked. And there was a couple other things there that were, but they had some great glazes. They had some great pottery. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to... Alright, where do we start with this? Chicken. We need to start with chicken. We won the Gizzard Lottery. Yep. Whole chicken. Yeah, I got around to putting them through this sharpener. Messed up and lost a little meat there. I had to follow the wishbone. I could have kept that with there. Carcass in the bag. I noticed I also hacked up this wing. It's alright. I throw my wings in my stock. The wings are definitely good fodder for tonight's recipe. It's just going to make the pot a little bit fuller. I'm almost on the edge of doing another wing night. It's been ages since I've done wings. I don't do wings very often, and when I do, I typically buy them separate from this because I don't keep them separate. What's up? I cleaned my hands and I forgot to put the last wing in the bag. And so I wasn't sure. Do I get my hands dirty again? Or is there things I should do when my hands are clean before I have to get my hands dirty again? Or do I get a pair of tongs dirty? Which I'm sort of leaning towards getting a pair of tongs dirty at this point, because I'm going to need the tongs to move the other pieces around. So we're getting a pair of tongs dirty. Fork's harder to clean than tongs in the sink by hand. Hey, Alex. Chimkin. Yep, that's it. Chimkin. I've thought quite a bit about getting a silverware washer, because those are typically much smaller. There could be like countertop. Like, there's countertop dishwashers, but they're not really countertop dishwashers. They're like, you're gonna put that on your countertop and never move it again dishwasher. There's silverware washers that I would be like, yeah, I needed the space, I could easily move that. Well, it was only a minor spill, so I'm gonna live with it. Do I have metal cocktail skewers? No, I have metal skewers, though. Well, maybe you consider these cocktail skewers. They're a bit longer, though. Most of them are sort of nasty at this point. Hi, Header Broccoli. Yeah, these are more like, what do you call them? Skewers. Meat skewers. Yes. Kebabs. Kebabs, kebabs. Kebabs. They're like the two different radio frequencies of kebabs. Kebabs. Okay, Bobs. You like some feathers with your chicken? Yeah, these are coming out after. We're just searing these right now. By the way, chat. This one's showing much more heat than this one, so we're going to turn it around. Yeah. Yeah, Alex. What's the channel for K-Rock in LA? Nah, fresh doesn't mean... It doesn't mean fresh whatsoever. It just means whether they were lazy or not with it. Yeah. If you don't know, you don't know. I'm not gonna be, like, ruining chicken for people. Pull out of there. Yep. That's why when we get to 1,000 streams, I'm doing duck. I decided on my 1,000th stream dinner, chat. While it's not 100% my 1,000th stream, it's technically my 1,000th stream since the beginning of 2020. And so I'm going to be doing a 2-part dinner for that one. We'll do a lazy dinner or a quick dinner on one night and prep for the dinner. And the other night we'll finish it. Both doing a 2-day potato recipe and a 2-day duck recipe. Duck almost shouldn't be compared to other poultry. Like, most other poultry, like, well, duck just has so much more iron to it. It's a much redder meat. It's a much meatier meat to me. Yeah, the fat's not bad. And I'm not going to confit the legs, but confit dead legs done the actual way, done the proper way, not done like the fast supermarket or the modern commercial way. Oh my. I'm going to take these two out. I'm going right back to the cutting board because they're going to get fully cooked anyway, so we're not worried about a minor recontamination. And going in with our chicken breasts. These are some big boy chicken breasts here. That was a big bird. Saucy, one of my chefs at the Culinary Institute of America, is known for breaking down chickens, or at least in the school she is. Well, I believe she's retired at this point, but yeah, it's a whole head of garlic. I'm not using the whole head. I just crushed it. Could take a bird from living to like cut in cooking water in under 90 seconds. She was ridiculous. But that's one of the things with that's one of the things that they teach in Chinese culinary, and she went to the Chinese culinary system. It's sort of like you build yourself up in their system, and you're feeding a lot more people. And so you start off your day as students there doing like thousands of chickens. And so yeah. She was awesome. She was also, the school didn't officially sponsor it, but she put together a culinary trip through Szechuan Institute of Higher Cuisine. And that was part of my trip to China, where I went 2 weeks there and spent a bunch of it in Chengdu, which is where their top culinary school is, the one I just mentioned, and Beijing for touristy stuff. the one of the major meat vendors at the farmers markets, or actually, I don't know if he still does some or not. It's been a minute since I've seen him, been to the ones he does. Used to sell skinless chicken breasts as naked breasts. I was supposed to go in the trash, not over here. This is going to get a little splattery here, chat. I throw artists up on Twitch quite often. Broth Cube. It's one of my 3-cup bags of 3 cups by weight bags of chicken stock that I make here on the occasional all-day Sunday stock stream. We're going to let this melt down, which hopefully won't take too long, before we add everything back in there. Let's go ahead and open our wine, which a local Sonoma, big name. There's 8 ounces in the cup, so it's a 24-ounce bag. If that helps you. Or wait a minute. Now I'm confusing myself. No, they're 24. Yeah, they're 24-ounce bags. Math, making my head hurt. Why'd you make my head hurt, Alex? Why'd you have to point out my math errors? Bitters, no bitters. What you saw maybe was this. The wine we're using tonight. Once this reduces down, and I'm especially not worried about the fat with that stock tonight because, well, we're going to have more fat rendering off of the bird as it cooks, so... No, the Angostura is up here. We've also got the Woodford Reserve Orange Bitters. Oh, in the cupboard. Yes, in the cupboard, yes. We have maraschino cherries, Angostura, Contral, just because it's small and fits in there nicely. My small bottle of St. George Terroir Gin, which I really should finish off and get rid of, but I never do. And the orange bitters. Yeah, I should thin out this cabinet a little bit. There's some stuff in here that for the most part, I've got one of all of the major things, sort of a thing going on. Nah, gin's okay with me for hangovers. While tequila, no. To no. I would argue you haven't found a tequila you like, but I can accept people not liking tequila too, I guess. That said, I'm not Mr. Tequila. And like I said, it's the one that... If I'm drinking tequila, it probably was not my choice in the first place. So it's one of those nights. Sorry, chat, not showing you that ice almost melted there. Well, there's a lot of people that want to claim even though tequila isn't really a clear liquor, a lot of it's golden and darker. It's a lot of people claim the clear liquors are not going to give you a hangover when just hydrate properly whenever you drink, people. Hydration is key when drinking. Well, that's the real one. That's the one that I hear the most from people. Like vodka, you don't get hangovers from. Like, that's the whole... Yeah. I think that sort of goes into the whole... You get a lot of young girl drinks. You got a lot of beginning drinker drinks in that area. And I think that is in that same area where people get told a lot that just so that they give it a try. That too. Boil. Come on, boil. Come to a boil. Quit looking at the liquid, Chad. It's supposed to boil. Stop watching it. Hey chat, Everclear is clear. It's not going to give you a hangover. Maybe I should put the 18 plus or alcohol conversation on here because we're getting a little too. Alright, we're going to go ahead and add those thighs back in because they need the most cook time. And we're going to add a whole bunch of wine. That is a cup and a half. And to give everyone an idea of the time scale for tonight's dinner, I'm going to proof from use now. There's probably going to be an AFK while it bubbles and cooks for a little while tonight, chat. little bit of sugar in there to make that yeast extra happy. Gonna use 1/4 einkorn flour tonight. Because I haven't been using this up and I need to use it. Hey, they can see me. And a little less than a cup of bread flour. For those just coming in, what you're looking at on the stove there, bubbling away, I need to turn it down a little bit, is 2 chicken thighs and legs with wine and chicken stock and a little bit of garlic. I can't remember the name that I used to know einkorn as. Like, I knew one of the rolls they made at the culinary is, well, breads classes along with the culinary students doing their baking classes produce bread for the students every single day. And so when you're going to you go into the main, like, dining hall, Farquharson Hall, there's just this, like, smorgasbord of bread every single day with all of the food. And one of the rolls that they had essentially every day there was made with einkorn, but they did it under a different name, and I can't remember what the name is anymore. Pinch of salt in there with our flours. Why not? Touch a half and half too. Maybe einkorn is, and this other wheat that I knew that they used at the Culinary Institute was something specific that got rolled into. I don't know. welcome back. So doing a mix of einkorn and bread flour for tonight's rolls. Wow, that edge. And I don't even wear lipstick, chat. Worst thing in the world to get off of glasses. Everyone in the bar and dining world hates lipstick. That's looking a little better. Right as I say that, I see something. Put my little polishing cloth away. Pretty dark for supermarket wine, but it is see-through. That is mighty dark, though. Especially for a cab, too. Hmm. Oh, I haven't checked the legs. I typically don't look at legs on wine, unless we're talking a dessert wine or something like that. The legs of a wine mostly tell you viscosity, which mostly tells you sugar content. So it's fun to see that and show that off when you're drinking some really syrupy sweet port or something along that line. But regular wines, but I show this to chat, even though the color of my camera is going to be different from others. I'm trying to use a repeatable white, which is my paper towels. So you have a white background to see through it as best as you can. But like, I'm not controlling perfectly how far away I am from this. This is by far not a calibrated camera. All sorts of things that mess that up, but Merlots aren't bad. I basically did what's probably going to be my yearly shopping chat for wine. I'm not drinking a lot of wine these days. I did buy a 6-pack today, though. So I got this Cab Sav. Did I get another Cab Sav? No, I didn't. I got a Cab Sav, 2 Zinfandels, a Merlot, a Rosé, and a boring Chardonnay. Rosé would be nice for something spring-like. I figure I'll find something to use the Chardonnay for. It was sort of like the one I bought to fill out the 6-pack. It is not an expense. It's a KJ. It's not bank breaking. Let's mix up our dough here. Oh yeah, Washington's blowing up, and that's the whole... It's, politics and everything, things never stay the same. California's water systems are changing as far as rights for farmers and all of that. And global warming. So the climates are getting warmer here. The cooler climates that you want for the grapes are going to be a little bit north of here. And so it's actually an area that's just going to grow as far as that. But yeah, Willamette Valley is big wine territory. might potentially maybe have something to do with the sort of mini tech bubble you have up there too, separate from San Francisco. Mini. You think about the companies that are up there. But the other problem with wine, and the reason why it's essentially all gone corporate these days, even most of the family labels are really corporate, is because it's just the liability or the risk starting it up is so high. If you're buying a vineyard, you're buying a known quantity. If you're starting a vineyard, you're planting grapevines, even if you're buying pre-started ones, that are going to take you 5 years to get you decent fruit. Until you get, so that's 5-year investment just till you get fruit. You don't even know if you have good fruit at that point. And then around here, you have things like wildfires. And if you have a wildfire close enough to your grapes, you have what's called smoke taint. And you can just kiss your entire, profits that year out, and you're going to be lucky to regain some of your money. And then you get into the fun of, when you start out, what grapes do you grow? Because you're not exactly going to tear out all of those vines, are you? And then if you're someone that's used to buying wine, drinking wine, and is familiar with, say, a single vineyard year after year, you'll realize that same vineyard, like, people talk about good years and bad years with wine. That's absolutely a thing. Like, you can have wine from the same plot of land be absolute junk one year and be, award-winning the next. And that's why there's so many blends out there. It also allows them to hide all of the bad and off flavors. But and we haven't gotten into the conversation about all the additives that they put in there. Okay, I'm going ahead and putting Okay. I turned on the drugs and intoxication label because we're talking about wine. And then you get into all of the chemicals and stuff that are really the thing that people are talking about these days and people are worried about these days. Because much like you have in a lot of other commercial processes, the big commercial processors use some really nasty chemicals, but the percentages of their using them to ginormous batches makes them somewhat acceptable. And you have that absolutely with wine. You have some practically toxic, rather nasty chemicals and stuff like that that they use, and they don't even report it because it's wine. They don't have to put it on the label. Absolutely. It's not the only way they make them, but it's the traditional way to make pretzels. They use both. I need to stop after this class because otherwise I won't have wine with my dinner. Hey, Addictive! So we got any other wine lovers in chat tonight since we're talking wine and booze tonight? Everyone pay all your first of the month bills yesterday? I hope. Gonna go ahead and add these chicken breasts in there too. Now that we've let the thighs get a good 30 minutes or so on their own, on top of everything else. We want to cook it all until it's essentially break apart, but the breasts don't need as much or as much heat, so I didn't bother. I have several things that I don't auto-pay. Yep, Addictive. It's going to be blended into the soup, but apricot and soup. There's going to be brandy in there too, but I didn't mention that. I've got some dried apricots I bought for that almond chicken tangine a couple nights ago, a couple streams ago. And I was trying to think of something that I could use to use that up, and so we're moving it into the soup. But we're going to use the brandy to rehydrate those. I don't know how much brandy I got left. I got enough brandy to do this? I hope so. It's not apricot brandy, but it's cheap grape brandy. So yeah, think about if you're one of those people that's weirded out and hates all these chemicals they put in food and worried about there being chemicals in your food and avoid all the processed stuff. Avoid cheap wine. I did try them. I forget when it was. It was last stream? Stream before? No, it was last stream. Just beforehand. I tried them out. And, meh. They weren't bad. But at the same time, were they like, ooh, I want to go and buy more of those? No. Were they... Unless they were, like... Yeah. They weren't exciting, but they weren't bad. I enjoyed them. Well, if you're after the cheap wine, I said cheap wine being sort of generic about it with the US wines. Buy yourself some cheap German wine. Get yourself drunk on cheap Riesling. That's yeah, European wine's probably tons better than the US because they actually care what they put in things. In the US, they're just like, what can we sell? Head of broccoli, I wouldn't call it a New Year's resolution because I actually sort of started with this before the beginning of this year. But I have been focusing on trying to use more dried and preserved ingredients. Been trying to focus on more canned ingredients too. Saucy. That's a good one. Awesome, Addictive. Have you thought of frozen fruit too? I have, and I've done some They Can See Me. I jarred up some peppers not too long ago. Hot peppers. But, again, that runs into the... One, I don't have a ton of jars, so I don't have, availability to fill them up. And two, I don't have tons of extra space for storing a large larder or something. Like, that's a dream of mine, of having, like, an actual... Like, I so wish I could have a space like my grandmother had, just for storing stuff. Like, she had 2 of them. Hey Mel, thank you for that resub.
Cheers.
That was a sort of delayed text to speech. Anyways, cheese cave? That's where they usually cure cheeses. It's like wine caves. However, modern day thinking doesn't like them as much. You have problems with caves where you can get infestations and other things, and so most modern thinking, like most things in the world, is much more disposable. They want to be able to tear down the walls and rebuild it if it gets infected. But you still have, there's actually quite a few. You drive along Highway 12 here in Sonoma. There's several bubble producers that have wine caves. Like, wine caves are really in among the champagne and sparkling crowd of wines. The Method Champenoise producers. But I don't need a cave. I'm just envious of someone with a basement with a little bit more even temperatured space and lots of room. Like, a basement all by itself would be amazing. I have, like... I'm a guy, chat. I'm not, ultra woodcutter guy, but my tool collection has to fit in a hall closet. Like, my truck's outdoors. Like, garage, basement. Yeah. Goals. Nah, in the garage I'll set up traps. I'll get rid of them real quick. It's a little hard to set up traps inside of your transmission, or the gap between your transmission and your floorboards, or the gap between the back of the bed and... This seems to be not cooking quite hot enough. I want an occasional bubble here. Alright, so we got that and that done. We got our bread proofing. Let's cut up our veggies. And then we'll do a bit of an AFK here while we allow it to cook. I already tipped that once, but I don't like the way that tip's looking, so we're getting rid of that one. Chat doesn't get to see the rest of the time where I'm eating nothing but leftovers and never eat out and never... That's what it's like, addictive. It's amazing otherwise. Oyster mushrooms. Nope, but they're never as pretty and they're never as good. Well, majority of the time they're not as good. Why are you not following me? That's true, they can see me. But, like, I never eat out. How's the trading going, Broccoli? I'm also, like... I also can't stand cheap fast casual at this point. Like, I've talked before about the last time I sat down, that I really remember, I sat down at a fast casual restaurant. It was a BJ's, if anyone's familiar with BJ's. They're like a brew house, fast casual setup. And the person serving me quite seriously sat there and read off of a tablet. Had to get permission to change a dressing. Like, it was like, what? Why am I paying this person a tip? It was rather sad. I guess I'll have them. Like, my dad at one point mentioned that he was worried that my being in the culinary world has ruined food for me. It hasn't ruined food for me. It's ruined a lot of service for me, though. Like, I know how you're cheating me. Which ruins a lot of restaurant world, because modern restaurant world, unless you're cheating me, you're not surviving. Like, restaurants are great. It's the current mentality over what food should cost when it's being served to people versus just buying it at a store. Like, I don't agree at all with the idea that we still use subsidies for a lot of things in food. We have the ability to produce all these things in large quantities without question. It's how do we get off of them? I mean, we're hooked on them. We're addicted to them. We can't, tell farmers to all sell their land and move into some new system. Though at the same time, the reason that we have an unreasonable expectation of service is because we have things like the tipping mentality here in the US, where we expect to pay 20% more on a bill going into a restaurant. That's without modern day, service fees, and you're in the gas lamp district and that's a tough one too when it comes into a new, like, so you're buying a restaurant, you want to start a restaurant, and so you're buying a place that has an established menu, but then you get to ordering the stuff that goes to that menu, and the Cisco guy is not dumb. The Cisco, the Aramark, the US Food, whoever it is. He's not an idiot. He knows you're the new guy. You're going to be paying twice as much for everything now. And do you keep the same menu? To keep the same supplier? To keep your customers happy and it's the same as it used to be? You know, all of a sudden the fish guy's double packing his ice in your boxes, and you're missing an extra chop in your meat box. Yeah, shrinkflation's an amazing thing. It's not my normal onion knife. Your state just raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. The problem in California now is that we've raised our fast food minimum wage to $20 an hour. But there are other minimum wages, like retail is lower than that now. And so, like, there is, like, the Culinary Institute of America. Here in Napa, we have a satellite campus. It's a smaller campus, even though I think they do associates there now. They were hiring not too long ago at $22 an hour with benefits. So if you're looking for a job here in California now, your choice is between high-end, top-end university at $22 an hour with benefits, or McDonald's for $20 without. And there's like addictive, I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure why they singled out fast food versus overall minimum wage, but I don't know all of the careers that we're talking about when we say minimum wage. Otherwise, it's not that odd of a thing. Like, basically everywhere in the US has a tipped versus non-tipped wage, where there's a minimum wage that's like a couple dollars an hour versus $10, $15, $20 an hour. And then you realize that in my lifetime, they've raised the minimum wage like maybe once. Federally. Or if you're down in the South, you can work as a 15, 16, actually it may not be 15, maybe 16 plus. You can be a barmaid at 16 in the South. You want to go and serve beers to dudes at 16? So I'm going to let this chill for a bit. We're going to allow the bread to poof. Even though it's poofed a bit, we're going to allow it to max poof. We got our veggies ready to go in. It took me a minute too, Alex. I realized it pretty quick though, but... But we're going to allow this chicken to simmer a bit. And I'll see all your lovely faces back here in a little over 30 minutes. And I'll leave the music on. We'll leave the chicken bubbling away. And I'll see all you back then. Hi, chat. Welcome back. We're going to punch down our dough here. Hey, Mel. So we're starting in immediately with the rolls here, if only to get them reformed rather than allowing it to overproof. Add a little flour to the board here. Oh, I need to mute myself in the back room. I hear myself. I'll be right back. There we go. Need some non-floured space too. Get these to properly ball together here. Blue cheese. Blue cheese would probably be amazing with tonight's dinner. Just throw some chunks over that chicken. I'm actually a little surprised with how this dough turned out. The last couple of times that I've worked with this einkorn, it really liked a lot of water. But I went with a rather small percentage this time. I only went with about 20-25%, somewhere in there. Of the overall flour content. 4 balls of dough. Let them do their thing. But while that is going, we're going to go ahead and get our oven preheating for that. And we're going to move some things around here on the stove. What's your thoughts on St. Augur? I sort of think of St. Augur as a blue cheese eater's blue cheese. Like, it can be as soft as brie. Like, it's on the edge of being like a triple cream in many cases. But it's also got these, like, it's also got tons of crystallization. And it's got, like, these, like, cavernous holes that have been eaten out by it. Like, it is blue cheese. Alright, you got some nice heat going in that pan now. We'll add a bit of oil in there with the oil that's already there. And we're getting started with veggies. And start sauteing some mushrooms. They're not sweating, but I wish that pan was a little hotter at the same time. Not sure what's going on there with the mic, chat. Alright, now that we've got some nice color on those, we're going to add in the rest of our root veggies. Our carrot, parsnips, and onion. Why are you winning out over the other mic? And if I'm talking, yeah, it's still catching. Does that sound better, chat? I don't know what it is about this mic, what it's picking up, why it's spiking like that. Is that a Minecraft villager in the middle of that song? Did anyone else hear that? So we're really just trying to get some color over here on these and do a majority of our sweating outside of this concoction over on the left hand side. So I think our next step here is going to be removing this chicken, although just temporarily. This is now at max flame. And the veggies, I'm going to give a stir to and then actually turn off and just let them carry over, cook a little bit. This head of broccoli gonna get it. We got any other scramblers in chat tonight? I think I'm just gonna starch it, chat. Sounds Spanish. Alright, so we've got our lovely wine and stock juice boiling away here, reducing down a bit. When we get that down to where we want it to be, we'll add in the starch and water. Throw that in the fridge for a sec while this cooks. Add a bit of apple cider vinegar. Acid's amazing. Cooking a cup of rice. What sort of spice do I want to add to the rice, chat? To go with the wine, to go with everything else. Definitely want some salt, pepper, yeah, why not the other salt too? I think dried thyme is a safe play for this. Touch of garlic. We'll call that that. I did not want to light for some reason. Most expensive part of the roll these days. I think my water was safe. There we go. Now we use sesame. We do salt. I think I'm leaning towards just some salt. So there we go, we got a sprinkle of salt over the top. I think we've reduced our wine and stock enough at this point, so I'm going to keep it at a high heat, but we're going to mix in our starch water now, our oobleck. That didn't thicken things as much as I really had hoped. I think I want to add even more starch after that. I got a bit more starch, chat. You buy your starch in pail sizes, right? There we go. Now we're looking nice and thick bubbly. Got small bubbles with a nice gloss to them. That's going to nicely coat things now. And speaking of nicely coating things, let's add our veggies in there. Oh, let's turn our rice is boiling, so turn the rice off. So our root veggies and mushrooms are in there. Buns are going to go in the oven. "20-minute timer on those. We're add our chicken back in to the drink. There's not a whole heck of a difference between potato, corn, and the other starches when they're in powdered form. There are some that are especially better at certain things, like Clear Gel, which is a commercially produced product, starch, or I believe it's a corn starch, but it's a modified corn starch. Or arrowroot, which are great for making clear, thickened liquids. But otherwise, they pretty much thicken about the same. I think potato is cheaper if you're buying it by like the sack load. But like, I don't see it hardly at all in supermarkets and like that. But I've definitely worked with it in restaurants that were using lots of starch. It does feel a little bit lever, but that a little bit different, but that could possibly just been the grind of whatever starch it was compared to whatever other brand it is. I'm going to turn this back down. We just need to keep this warm at this point. And throw the rest of the egg in with the rice once it's done cooking. And toss that together just like it's fried rice or something. We can let the booze breathe. Dealing with the big Sonoma County brand. I don't know how widely distributed this name is, though, chat. Anyone out there know Sebastiani? Outside of Sonoma County? They're huge here in Sonoma County, but you know, there's some brands that are just like local focused and other ones that aren't. Well, in that case, it's been the most amazing wine I have ever... No. It's been a pretty good wine. You have a good weekend, chat. That is not soup. Not sure about the straight part there of the title. And I don't know all the history on Kokavin. Though I would judge that as a much more French name than... But as I know it, it basically breaks down to any long braised whole chicken or traditionally a cock braised down with wine. I added chicken stock to not spend that much money on wine. Good to hear that they can see me. Chill is good. Like, exciting and hype is awesome, but, you know, it isn't always exciting and hype if it's always exciting and hype. The exciting and hype gets pretty regular after a little bit. Is anyone feeling me on that or no? Am I just... Peter Broccoli, I honestly think that line was done better in The Sopranos than in The Godfather. Or is that another hot take that chat's not gonna... It's been a long time since I've seen it in either. He says, defending himself, not remembering what strong opinion he just formed about a series that many people have very strong feelings about. Is the series he talking about Sopranos or The Godfather? Yes. Our rice should be good now. I would say at this point, probably don't bother. Like, on one hand, it's iconic, and mostly because everyone and their brother has seen it. But it's also getting pretty outdated. And, like... yeah. It's lost a lot of the... like, I mean, it's been, what, 25 years? 25 years? We're gonna take our rice. Looking pretty nice there with our rice. Plop that down into the bowl. It's very satisfying when the whole thing just sort of slides out. It's like a can just coming out cleanly. throw the rest of that egg in there. Mix it about so it doesn't stay all in one spot. Let the rice cook it through. Ooh. Yeah, HBO was not cheap back in the day. It's still not cheap. I'm gonna go back into the pot here with the rice, with the egg and herb rice. Not because I want to keep cooking it in some form, but because it's easier to keep warm with the lid than putting plastic wrap or something over the bowl. And we still need a couple of minutes for the bread. Got our rice over here. Rice is pretty good. Could use a touch more salt. I had a pretty good weekend. I don't know that I did anything really all that exciting. I debated going out once or twice. I didn't do it. Actually, one thing that I haven't tried doing before is getting a cab over to the casino, because the casino's got a couple of night places. I've never driven over there either, other than I've ate there, but nice. I was talking about Rieslings earlier. Am I putting thoughts in your head? I don't remember the name of it, but there was a Riesling that one of my friends in college just drank like mad. It was the equivalent of, like $2 Chuck, but it was a German Riesling. And like super cheap. pretty sure he went on to be a sommelier. Yeah, Peter Rockley. Riesling was actually one of my first entries into dry wines. Like, I got into drinking a couple of upstate New York Rieslings. Some salmon run like stuff. So the bread will be coming out here in another 30 seconds or so. We'll show that off for a little bit, and then we'll put our plate together. So we're wrapping things up here, chat. Getting close. I was confused for a moment there, chat. I turned around, and I must have turned around at the exact beginning of the 00 second. Because I turned around and I looked, and it was like, it's 0, why isn't the alarm going off? We got some rolls. You can even see the molten salt pattern. Turn the oven off now because those are looking lovely. For me, it depends. There are a number of sweet wines that I'm just not a fan of. Like, a lot of the off-flavored, fruit-flavored ones, I'm not really interested in. But late harvests, I'm cool with. And ports, I like ports, especially tawny ports. What did I do with my spoon for that? There it is. So we'll plate up our rice. I'm gonna use one of these cups and hopefully keep it inverted on the plate. I forgot the... Much better with a touch of salt there. I guess we're going over the stove with the plate rather than... Take one of these chicken breasts. One of the legs. Oh, wine clubs are huge out here. Well, they've died back a little bit since COVID. But yeah, wine clubs are without a doubt the bread and butter of people visiting vineyards, people who are coming out here, the tourists. They all want you to join their club. Like the first thing they do is they charge you a tasting fee, but tell you, you know, if you buy anything, essentially, we're going to waive the tasting fee for you. And so, right off the bat, they get most people to buy a bottle or two just for showing up and doing a tasting. But beyond that, the majority of the time, they're sitting there, like, all the paperwork, everything they're putting in front of you, join our club. I've been a member of one or two over the years. Some of them are great, some of them not so much worth your money. And there we have it, chat. This plate. Why aren't you following me? There we go, chat. Get a photo or two of this. And then we'll break into it and see what we got. Finally, I can sip my wine again because I'm on my last glass. And essentially, pull apart the stage. Not showing chat. Basically, chicken pull apart ability, and certainly not too dry. That is damned good. But I'm unsure if I like this more or the 2 vinegars chicken I did a couple of months ago. Because that was a red wine vinegar recipe, so there was a bunch of wine flavor in that one too. I want to say that that one was almost a little bit more impressive. That said, this is fucking delicious. Cheers, chat. Yep, that's a small little wine bottle. They got all sorts of fun names for all the huge wine bottles. And there's all sorts of them, too. There's plenty of time in here. I thought about something green, something that I could add on to that to make it a little bit more... I don't think we want anything... Like, this is not a fresh type meal, you know? It's not light. It's not... Oh yeah, we got rolls too that I didn't even take photos of. See the bottom of those lovelies now. soak up the rest of that. This is where we're going to leave things for tonight. I want to thank all of you for joining in with me tonight. It was a fun night. There's a little bit of a AFK session, but I think we were all cool with that. Yeah, Ruben's about the only place where I'm like, yeah, we can go with rye. That said, I've had a Ruben without rye that I've been okay with. But, yeah, it's definitely the place for rye. I shall be back here tomorrow night. We're doing the start of Chicken Week tomorrow. So we're going to continue on with the chicken foods. And going to be doing apricot chicken or something soup. Oh, couscous. So I hope you come back to join me for that. Continuing on, I don't have a recipe for it in the Discord yet, chat. I'll maybe throw something up tonight if I remember. Sort of a last minute thing with the theme weeks. Struggling with the hiccups now after eating. And then after this next week with Chicken Week, we've got Eggplant Week. So should have some interesting ones in there. I don't have plans in place for all of these next 2 weeks, really, other than the themes at this point. And tomorrow, I got to work on that. I got to catch up on my calendar. Thank you so much for joining in with me tonight, everybody. I hope you all had a great weekend. I wish you the best to start new week. Good night.